more than this on the beginning of day 4. I don't know just watching it again, because I missed the last session being in Australian time. I was very struck, and I think all the papers are in England this morning, by the connectivity between the crowd and the English team during that last session. I think Shieldberry in the Times saying he's never seen anything quite like it on an English field.
Well, I mean, I did notice that Ben Stokes was trying to get Jonny to G them up, Johnny B to Johnny G, but I wasn't so aware of it. Maybe it's because I had the sound down, because I can't bear listening to Nick Knight. That might be something to do with it. But yes, I mean, it's great when you're at home, but when you're away on a really sort of a pitch that's turning square in India or Pakistan or somewhere like that, I'm not sure whether it's going to be quite as easy to keep up this positivity. Anyway, we should have...
So I think that's true, but just quickly on that, it's probably just best to live in the moment, Hendo, do you think?
Well, that's what they're doing now, isn't it? Live in the moment. Don't think too far ahead. Just live in the moment, enjoy it. And, enjoying it again today is going to be Sam Billings, who's been brought in as a COVID substitute for Ben Foakes. Ben Foakes, we thought, we were told originally had a bad, stiff back, but that's turned into COVID overnight by some sort of miracle. Jacob, being the cynical young man that he is in the other room, was suggesting that, hang on, if he's got a bad back, we can't replace him. But if we say it's COVID, ooh. So do you think they pulled a fast one, England? Maybe they have. Anyway, let's jingle up who's taking part this morning. First of all, it is this man to bat.
Up next is Tommy Blundell. Tommy Blundell. Up next is Tommy Blundell. Tommy Blundell.
Pots into him, 3 slips and a leg slip waiting for a catch, but it's beautifully played by Blundell away through mid-wicket, and that's going to go all the way to the boundary for one of these. And this is the bowler.
I've heard from Potts that the kettles are filthy black. You know he might do. Let's bring him into the attack.
Talking of pots and kettles, the bear has just made me a glorious cup of tea. It's absolutely perfect. I'm going to take him home and make him my wife. He's really, really good cup of tea from the bear. Who would have thought?
Pawnbot up yet?
Pawnbot's not up yet, no. Well, we only had one ball. That's why Potts was bowling, because there was one ball after they went off for rain last night. Straight away into the attack, we have none other than this man.
Sweep the leg, Brody. Got the best headband around. Something has got to keep her down. Got the best headband around. Your ego ain't gonna be kept down. Got the best headband around. Even though your hair is thinning now.
And he's going to be bowling to the man averaging 120 right now with the bat in this series. It is this man.
Son of an old black funny on Peep Show wrote that book. Oh, Daryl, not David Mitchell.
Now, what have we got? Interesting field, 2 slips. We've got a short mid-off and a short extra cover for any slightly lifted drive, but no other close fielders. Mitchell is on 4, Broad is into him, and he's outside the off stump. He does get across those stumps quite well and presents the full face of the bat, pushes back to the bowler. There is no run. Who's joined us this morning, Messi?
Well, the most important person joining us is probably Matthew Cullen, who's at the ground for his first live cricket experience ever.
Oh, brilliant.
And will attempt to listen in to our dulcet tones. He sent us a lovely picture from the ground, hoping for a good day at the cricket, as is also Matt Searle, who's at the ground. He says he's not going to have a chance to listen much. And the light rollers also at the ground.
Brilliant. Full, driven by Mitchell, but one of those close fielders in the covers does the job. It's Jonny Bairstow, who's no longer keeping wicket. He's done everything in this match, hasn't he, really?
Yes,
if you've missed the news this morning, Sam Billings has raced from Canterbury to Leeds like he raced from Queensland to Tasmania during the last Ashes. It wasn't last year, it was this year, wasn't it? Was that the final test, Tasmania? I can't remember now. I think it possibly was.
It was, yes, when the wheels finally, and truly, completely fell off.
Talking of wheels falling off, I'll come back to that in a minute. Broad into Mitchell, comes down the wicket already and then leaves a ball wide outside the off stump. Anyone hear that story about the Japanese electric car when they're having to recall 2,000 models because the wheels were literally falling off? The bolts weren't strong enough. The wheels were literally falling off. I heard that on the way in the other day. I thought, my goodness me.
It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for something or other. To the world of today.
I think so. Absolutely, absolutely. It would have been more appropriate if it had been sort of English cars doing that, really, wouldn't it? Because the wheels well and truly have come off this country. Broad is coming in again to bowl to Mitchell. 4 runs from 20 balls. And he knows how important his wicket is here, but he pushes at that one outside the off stump. It goes away and beats him. Just a little bit of gentle away movement off the pitch as much as anything, I think, from Broad there.
Yeah, I think a bit of seam.
Yep.
I just noticed that first ball that went across for 4, as if the ground was made of glass. It reminded me of when you used to watch oval tests when you were a youngster. There was about 16 practice pitches, and the board absolutely scoot across that outfield just like class.
Yeah, they've got it right on sort of. There are a few of them, aren't there? They're on the outfield at Headingley, or what we would consider the outfield. And as you're right, it almost gains pace over that particular area. Interesting to see as Broad is in again. Bowls again, a little bit of seam, bit of bounce as well, actually, but left alone safely enough by Mitchell. But just a little bit of footage there of Brendan McCullum talking to Kane Williamson, and also Sam Billings coming across and saying, "Hello, everyone." And they must have played together in various teams. I can't remember. So many teams around the world that you can play for these days with all the franchise competitions that they probably almost everyone has met everyone else at some point and has become best buddies. Anyway, quite a strong breeze at Headingley this morning. Little absence of sunshine, perhaps just a little bit. There is a bit of a shadow as Broad runs in past umpire Kettleborough outside the off stump again a bit of bounce and taken quite high by Billings, but no joy in terms of wickets. It's the end of the over. New Zealand 172 for 5. They lead by 141. Messi.
Warren says morning all. Mog says look out, it's a bloody expat mafia on air today. Also hello. Varong, greetings from Apur. I hope everyone's well. It appears that rain interruptions may occur throughout the day.
Oh, no.
He sent us a radar map with some rain on it to the west of Manchester, but I actually think most of that rain's going north. I think we could be good today. He says it still amazes me how vaccinated people in countries with high vaccination rates are still catching the virus. Whatever happened to the common cold?
Yeah. I mean, I've sort of come out of hiding after 2 and a bit years, and I'm still not completely happy. Potts then bowls to Blundell outside the off stump, too wide in fact, and left alone comfortably by him. But I am now going into to buy coffee, which of course will mean that I will become destitute again, because basically all the money I've saved during the pandemic has been the fact that I haven't had to buy coffee. So now I'm back down to that situation where, well, I have to start looking at the bank balance once more. 172 for 5. Blundell 9, Mitchell 4. GPL. Oh, you must have some GPL news. Did anyone win it yesterday? Anyone know?
I don't know.
Outside the off stump, left alone. And where's he gone?
Bear will know.
We've lost Messi Jez. He's gone. What's happened to Messi Jez? He's scooted off somewhere.
No one won the GPL.
No one won the GPL. So what's the prize? £165 of your British pounds. It's probably worth about 10p now.
Imagine that.
Yeah, £165. So get involved in the GPL. Estimate how many runs you think will be scored in the day. Go to gorillacricket.com/competitions. The instructions are there waiting for you. Potts in, wide on the crease, hits him on the pad as he just leans over a little bit to the offside there, Blundell. And the ball just drops out into the leg side. There is no run. Messi Jez is back. Where did he go, Messi?
I had to reset the oven.
Oh, reset.
Challenging roasting pork. I had a room full of smoke a little while ago.
Oh, my goodness me. We don't want to hear your smoke alarm going off. That'll set the dog off, won't it?
I think the answer to your question was Kolkata Knight Riders. That's where Kane Williamson and Sam Billings would have met in the past.
Okay. Potts in again, a full ball, driven by Blundell nicely into the ground, and it loops up on the second bounce, and that'll run all the way down to the extra cover boundary for one of these. For it is. So a couple of boundaries already for Blundell, who looks in pretty nifty form. And why wouldn't he? Well, he's been very good. A thorn in England's side along with Daryl Mitchell. But he's the one
who does. Tom Blundell, actually, we just might pause while we see this ball.
Pots in again. He's onto the front foot. Big stride in, defending to short extra where Stokes is fielding.
Jamie Overton, of course, got 97, batting at number 8 on his Test debut. Tom Blundell scored a century on his Test debut, batting at number 8. So there we are.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That was against Australia, wasn't it?
I cannot remember, but you might well be right.
I think he's got 100 in Australia, which is not something that New Zealanders do as regularly.
No, not as a matter of course, no.
Potts is just about to finish his 11th over. 2 for 28 for him. He's in, bowls wide of the off stump. Very little movement at all. Very little movement from Blundell. He just lets it go through. It's the end of the over, 176 for 5. Messi.
Matt Searle at the ground has some sage advice. He says, in a world of KPs, be an Annie shave.
Yes, quite right.
Roger Melly says, hello, good evening, and bollocks. What do you reckon the chances are of the game finishing today? Quite high, I'd say.
Yeah, I would say so.
And the light roller sends us a picture of a rather sparse Barmy Army singing Bring Me My Arrows of Desire. Mrs. Luigi Magpie is with us. Severe mid to low back pain is a symptom of COVID, at least the early variant.
Is that right?
Feels like you're being kicked.
Ooh.
Hope it is a wink. It's a misery.
Ooh, no, I don't like the idea of that. Broad then to continue bowling to Daryl Mitchell there with his bat in the air. Very few batsmen tap their bat on the floor anymore, do they? This is outside the off stump, left alone by Mitchell.
No, the orthodoxy has completely changed. Jerusalem was written by William Blake, and I've just read a book with a title from William Blake, Ride Your Plough Over the Bones of the Dead, by a Polish crime writer, which I can strongly recommend.
Sounds fun.
You may just notice that the crowd has just come in on the... we forgot to put the crowd noise on, but now you can hear it well and true, I believe. Broady again, 2 slips waiting for a catch. Down the wicket comes Mitchell and then presents a defensive shot. The ball runs slowly up to mid-on and there is no run. Anyone joining us on YouTube, Messi?
Indeed there are. The aficionado says... the Attic Radio says Glastonbury was excellent. Jeff Thomas says, good morning, Gorillas. Thunderstorms are due here soon, but as here is Bangkok, Headingley might be safe.
Yeah, Bangkok just to the east of Headingley, I think you'll find.
Andrew Miller says, morning, Gorillas.
Not the Andrew Miller. This is defended on the front foot up to mid-on again. There is no run. Is it the Andrew Miller? I presume.
Well, I suppose
he'll be Chile Burnley UTC.
He'll be the Andrew Miller to his family.
Well, that's true. Not the Andrew Miller of Cricinfo, an occasional guerrilla cricket fame. Of course, it's a long time since we've seen him, but then that's because he works for Cricinfo. Although he did come and do a Bishop and Bear chat a few weeks ago. So we're still in touch with him, which is good to know. The lead is now 145 as Broady races past the umpire, bowls, and once more Mitchell, very studious this morning, lets this one go through. He's not playing at anything that he doesn't need to. 4 runs from 27 balls. Blundell a little bit quicker, 13 from 20.
He used to bowl it, of course, notoriously back of a length when nothing was happening, and he's cured himself of that. But he does seem to bowl it just a little wider to compensate, as it were, Broady these days.
Yeah, he was talking more about being encouraged to take wickets rather than just stem the flow of runs, which of course can be quite quick against England. He's coming in to bowl again to Mitchell from the Kirkstall Lane end, defended straight back to him. He stoops and picks it up and then immediately applies some sweat to the ball.
Yeah, there was a period yesterday afternoon when Stokes in particular was clipped for a series of half volleys, but I didn't mind it too much in the sense that he was straining for swing. and the swing didn't come. And I think you can't really penalise a bowler for really putting it up there in a test match. Sure, in the end, he had to, moderate and pull his length back, but it was good to see him trying that.
Broad in again, bowls. This is straighter. He's onto the back foot this time, playing up to mid-on. Yes, I did notice. I didn't see Stokes bowl yesterday, but I did see that he'd bowled 2 or 3 overs. Obviously, it didn't quite work for him. Did we get any impression that he was carrying a knock, that this was just an experiment and to see how he felt when he bowled? It was like an outdoors net or a mid-match net, perhaps.
He was much fuller than normal, but he wasn't. He looked not at one with himself while he was bowling, but perhaps not as a result of injury, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. Messi?
So speaking of moderate, the Spannerati are out in full on YouTube.
Yes, I've seen that, yes.
Southee and Pokey Bumfinger. Pokey Bumfinger says, Potts and Jamie Overton are the England high points of the series for me. Just knowing that they're in the mix for the future warms me quite.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I see really, really good performances from them, especially Potts over 3 test matches. Outside the off stump from Potts, left alone by Blundell. And there is no
I would
run.
say that Potts has probably got much more of a future, if I'm honest, than Jamie Overton, who is, after all, 10th in line.
Yeah,
to the fast bowling berth. Now, I know he got 97, and that's fantastic, but that's not what he's going to get picked for.
Well, I don't know about that, Forthy. You know how we kind of like bowlers that can bat. And when we had Matty Potts in the first test batting at 8, we didn't look as strong. Knowing that there's someone who can score 97 at number 8 is, just, I don't know, fortifies you a little bit. Onto the back foot goes Blundell, turns this one to square leg, and there is no run.
I agree up to a point, Hendo. I agree with the principle, but Jamie Overton's first-class batting average is 20.8, and Matthew Potts' first-class batting average is 17.1. So not a great deal to choose between them.
No, that's absolutely true. What I would say about Matty Potts is that he was out second ball in that first test match, and he really seemed shocked that someone had bowled him a bouncer. This is Test cricket, son. Potts in bowls, straighter ball defended to mid-wicket, or one of the short mid-wickets. There is no run.
With Potts as well, you get the sense that he'd be a good listener. He'd want to be a team player, and if someone said you've got to go away and improve your batting, he would probably do just that.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with you at all on that. Potts has been a real find for England, I think. Fantastic attitude, just keeps on running in strong. I heard discussed yesterday a tweet by Mike Selvey. I'll come back to that in a minute. Potts is in again. Bowls to Blundell. Oh, he's gone past the outside edge there as he pushed forward. Just a little bit of movement. Billings takes it cleanly. Yes, there was I think Michael Atherton was talking about the fact that a tweet from Mike Selvey in which he'd said that he's built from the bottom up. Matt Potts. I think that's a really great description. He's very strong looking, isn't he? He doesn't look quite as fragile as some of our bowlers. And he's
compare and contrast with Ollie Robinson, you have to say.
He's got a good fast bowler's arse, hasn't he? Encased in those flannels. As Potts comes in again, bowls and beats him again outside the off stump. England's slip's getting very excited, but to no avail because he hasn't got an edge through there. But just a little quizzical look from Potts himself.
He has taken to Test cricket like a duck to water, but I can't help thinking if he was a Hollywood actor, he'd be cast as the bully in the high school film.
Oh, do you think so?
I think so. I've got to be honest. I'm sure he's a lovely guy. I'm just going on looks alone.
What would he be in, Glee or something like that? Can you imagine him doing a musical number?
He'd be in a Richard Linklater film.
As
a school bully, I think.
Here
comes the captain of the sports team.
It's gone wide on the
yes,
this time.
A jock.
Defended to short mid-wicket. I think it's Leach who's in that position. And there is no run. It's the end of the over. I think it was a maiden. 176 for 5. Messi.
Leah sent us a photo from the garden centre where they're selling flower pots of Easter Island statues. She says they're selling Marius Erasmus flower pots. Or Warren says they're the Overton family. Smith says, morning guys, I'm well up for today's cricket. We have the crowd nose on. I think the crowd is on now. The Pornbot says Hendo puts 2 lumps of milk in his tea. Click here. And Messi Jez has a bun in the oven. Mog says you could stop drinking a toxic slurry and profit, Hendo. I give up coffee or your cappuccinos or whatever it is.
Yeah, come on, you guys. You're Melbourne boys. You must know the lure of a cappuccino or a flat white.
Absolutely.
Onto the front foot comes Daryl Mitchell as Broad starts new over, defends this good length ball back to him, and there is.
I wasn't a coffee drinker till I arrived in Australia.
Oh really? Okay. How long have you been in Australia?
Absolute convert. 17 years.
17 years. So that's 17 years of coffee drinking. And a coffee a day keeps the doctor away, they say. So
yes, I think the world has come round. Coffee is evil, but it's not now.
Pretty much everything else I do doesn't keep the doctor away. So it's useful to have something. Broad, none for 45, looking for his first wicket. Fuller ball to Mitchell, who hasn't scored so far this morning, as he pushes this up to Potts at mid-on. And there is no run. So we just had those, 2 boundaries from Blundell, I think, so far today.
Mitchell's 4 off 31. But I would think in the form he's in, that won't be getting to him. He looks a very calm fellow.
No, I mean, that said, England have had chances against him before he's got into double figures in this series and have failed to take them. Can they do it today? It'll be a massive boost for them if they can. There's only Bracewell as a frontline batsman to come, although there is the entertainment of Boult, Southee and Wagner. Here is Broad again. Bowls to him outside the off stump. Too wide, not making him play. Perhaps not making him play enough so far this morning. As Forthy was suggesting, his width, his line has been a little bit off, perhaps.
A little bit off. Excuse me, 2 seconds. I'm going to open the door for my Cocker Spaniel who needs to pop out the back door.
He's banging on the door. Let me in.
Yes, he is.
Mog has an excellent point. He said, I must say you do get some great guests for the Bishop and the Bear. Exclusive for Patreons.
You do indeed, Patreons, and that's what we need. We always need Patreons. We lost a lot of Patreons during the pandemic. not in the sense that they died, thank God, but maybe some of them did. We don't know for sure. But we need to build that back up again to keep us going. Onto the front foot comes Mitchell and defends back to Broad. There is no run. So if you would like to become a Patreon, go to patreon.com, patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket, 1R, 2Ls. And, follow the instructions. You get various levels. If you give us £10 or more a month, you get to go on the glory roll that is on our Facebook and YouTube feeds, as well as getting the extras like Bishop and the Bear podcast and the Smaximum views and newsletter every Friday as well. So there's lots of things to tempt you these days. Also, you can join those of us that are on Discord, which is another social media platform, but it has the advantage of not having the idiots of Twitter upon it. It just has gorillas. It has the idiots of Gorilla, but it doesn't have the idiots of Twitter. So you can join us on Discord if you become a Patreon. And we have
better class of idiot.
Better class of idiot. And we've been thinking that, at the end of the day, we might just go off and have a little Discord chat, for just a few exclusive people who have become Patreons. And so we don't include all those other people from Twitter. And if you fancy that,
we're changing balls again.
We are changing balls again. We are changing
got the
balls.
Pulp Fiction briefcases out. I was just noticing that Broad gets moved. Is getting some seam movement, but only when he pitches it a yard outside off, which is not much good to anybody. Whereas Potts is getting movement from much closer to the wicket and is looking much more dangerous this morning.
Well, it looks like we are going to get a changed ball. It's not going through the handcuffs. No.
Speaking of the GPL, Hawks says he was thinking of a CPL, a Crawley prediction league, but then realised you'd only have about 25.
Oh yeah, you got no time for that. You'd have to sort of guess at sort of 9 o'clock in the morning, wouldn't you, before we started for a Crawley prediction league? That would be tough.
Poor Zach Crawley.
I
still cannot conceptually understand why you need 2 of the handcuffs. Why do you need 2 of them?
Because it's got to go through one and not through the other. No,
but why? That doesn't make sense. Why not just have one hole that it goes through or doesn't go through, and then it works or it doesn't?
Well, a ball isn't completely spherical, is it? A cricket ball. It's not completely round. I mean, the seam does.
No, that's true.
Make
I wouldn't argue with that.
Anyway, I think we've been given another ball. Broad is going to bowl with it. He's coming in to Mitchell, and Mitchell is forward again to a straight one. Defends it straight back to him. Feels like I've been saying that quite a bit this morning.
Yeah. Now, Al, who knows more about these things than I do, says because a sphere is a 3D shape. And I agree with that. But please, I'm probably being completely stupid here. But there is a shape to a cricket ball, which is either correct or it isn't. So you have a something that it goes through, which it either goes through or it doesn't. So why 2?
No, that's actually not correct.
It's not correct. Okay. Tell us in a minute after this ball, in fact, why it's not correct. Broad hasn't conceded a run yet. Has he now? No, this is driven straight to Stokes at short mid-off. And there is no run. End of the over, 176 for 5. Why is this not true, Messi?
The ball is required to have both a minimum and a maximum diameter. And the only way you're going to check both of those is by having 2 handcuffs.
Well, there you are. I did not know that.
The partnerships between all-rounders and wicket-keepers are a bit of a thing, and links us to the scorecard of the Bangladesh-West Indies series, where Joshua Silva and Myers have got a big partnership going.
What happened there? I saw they were 4 down at one point, and Mayers was batting quite well. Blackwood, I think, was the last man that I saw out. I didn't realise that De Silva had got runs again. Friend, of course, of the programme.
26 not out from 106.
Oh, right. On to a new over, rather, from Potts, and it's outside the off stump. Blundell leaves it alone. So what did they end up on then, West Indies, at the end of play?
350 for 5.
Oh, so they're 100 ahead or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did Mayers make?
He's on 126.
Oh, it's good to see him getting runs. He's been a really good find for the West Indies, hasn't he? Not just as a batsman, but also he's picked up really important wickets with his dob. As we see a close-up of Geoffrey Boycott with his Panama hat on. Onto the back foot goes Blundell. There was a hint of movement away, but just perhaps a little bit too short for it to find the edge.
I've got a question here. Though. We've definitely seen a dramatic change in England's approach to batting. Have we seen a similar dramatic change in their approach to bowling, would you say?
Well, perhaps not so much in the bowling itself as in the way the bowlers are used. I mean, I suppose you'd have to look at this and think that Jack Leach has been given a lot more opportunity here. They're almost emphasising how much opportunity they're giving to him. Outside the off stump again, big stride put in by Blundell, but again he leaves the ball. I'd like to see England making them play just a little bit more this morning.
Exactly. Well, that was my point. Well, then they've been bowling pretty dry this morning. I would think if you had a heat map, very few of these balls, if any, are hitting the stumps this morning.
Yeah, the ball's not really doing very much. There has been an occasional bit of seam movement, but nothing in the air. This is the curious thing, isn't it? Trent Boult has been able to get anything to swing, whereas England's bowlers haven't. Yeah. Or certainly not to the same extent, anyway.
Potts, bad ball pickers.
Again, in to Blundell once more, wide of the off stump by about 8 or 9 inches, and he leaves it alone. So New Zealand taking the opposite approach in their batting, aren't they? They're just trying to eke out runs as they can, and they've added not too many this morning. I think just 8 or 9. 8.
The contrast of styles is one of the great things about Test cricket, and there's no right or wrong way of playing Test cricket either.
It's what suits you at the time, isn't it? Really, I think. You know,
suits you, New Zealand.
Suits you, sir. Potts in again, past umpire Erasmus again. Too wide of the off stump. There was a little bit of movement, but it started far too wide. England have just got to make them play. I mean, just making a batsman play makes him concentrate more, makes him have to, you can't have that get out clause of just leaving it alone. It means you've got to do something. You've got to respond to the bowler, really.
I don't think they've bowled that well this morning, if I'm honest, so far. I'd
agree with that. Who else have we got to bowl? Well, we could turn to Jamie Overton. Ben Stokes, we don't think so. He's only bowled 3 overs yesterday. Only bowled 3 overs in the match.
It's a wafer thin attack, if we're honest.
Well, yes, in some respects. He goes wide on the crease. That's a better ball. Got it to move away.
So much better.
Blundell is beaten by that, and he looks back down the pitch and nods his appreciation of the bowler. He gets also some compliments from his captain, and that is the end of another maiden. New Zealand 176 for 5. Just 8 runs scored in 25 minutes so far this morning. More tweets, Messi.
Yes, Warren says, it amazes me that no one in the gorilla crowd gets hurt during the stampede.
Oh, yes.
Hombre Nuevo says, morning, wonderful gorillas. Mog says, nah, fuck coffee, can't drink it.
Really?
And on Discord today, we have a picture of a teenage Brian Barish. We got so much going on Discord. Raffles, the gentleman thug, says, good morning, gentlemen. I'm looking forward to seeing the impertinent colonials getting trounced again.
And despite the fact, of course, that it's called Discord, actually, everyone's very polite to each other on there so far. Anyway, it could get out of hand before too long. Depends who comes on and joins us, I suppose. Broad in, bowls full, and Mitchell's going to get a run for the first time this morning. He's clipped it away past Jamie Overton at square leg. Jack Leach is not going to be able to get round to that from long leg, and that is going to be Only the third of these this morning. Yeah, just onto middle and leg. Just straightening up a little bit. We've been asking him to straighten up a little bit. He does, and he gets clipped away through square leg.
By the way, I can't actually hear the crowd noise. Is it definitely there? Is it?
No, I think the problem is on the Zoom. You can't quite a lot.
You can't hear it.
When I'm at home, I can't hear it very often, but I can hear it when I'm in here. Broad in again, wider of the off stump this time, and Mitchell decides to leave it alone. 180 for 5 New Zealand. We will have a change at the end of this over. Will it be the end of this over? I think it will be the end of this over. Jacob will be coming in.
What I'm getting actually through my earphones is the sound of those strange voices at the end of 2001 Space Odyssey, when the astronaut arrives in that odd sort of 18th century room, and there's all those voices around.
We're getting some echo back from you, Hendo, actually. I don't know if you switched something.
Well, that's even better. You get even more of me.
Oh, stop, man.
As if you're produced by Stanley Kubrick. It's good.
God, imagine that. Imagine being produced by Stanley Kubrick. He's no longer alive, is he, Stanley Kubrick? It'd be difficult to be produced by him now, unless of course he puts sperm into a box somewhere and has brought it out for impregnating people, which he might have done because he's all into science fiction. Broad in, bowls to Mitchell. Mitchell is beaten on the inside edge here. This one seems to gather pace off the pitch. Billings clasps his webbing to his mouth. That's not to suggest that he's a duck, but he has webbing on his wicket-keeping glove.
And we see a quick picture of Ben Stokes. Has anyone commented on his cap so far?
His cap?
It's like he's put it on the wrong wash cycle or something. It's got sort of detergent stains all around it.
It's sweat stains. He's
never washed it. I did not. Messi, you're telling me things I never knew.
Messi has become a font of all information. What's going on here? Broad, none for 49. Needs a wicket. Wants a wicket. Halfway through his 18th over, 180 for 5. The lead is 149 now. He bowls to Mitchell. He makes him play. He plays defensively up to mid-on. Potts fields. There is no run.
I think Steve Waugh had a similarly battered baggy green, didn't he?
Well, the baggy green is kind of battered from the beginning, isn't it, really? The baggy green, by being baggy. It's been sort of
it already looks out of shape.
So it's already out of shape, yeah. Now the bear has come in. I'm not sure what the bear's come in for. He's not supposed to be here. The hologramic bear is here. Oh, he's got something to show me. We've got another Patreon. We've got 3 more Patreons. Absolutely wonderful. Now that kept a little bit low from Broady, but he's tucked away behind square. They're going to come back for a second. Might have to hurry, but he gets there comfortably enough in the end. Let me read out the names of the new patrons if I can possibly. Andy Ward has come back. That's our own Andy Ward, isn't it?
No, and Andrew Waring.
Oh, Andrew Waring, and also Mark Selleck is a new $10 patron. I think Mark has been supportive of us for quite a while. He may have just upgraded his Patreon, but whatever it is, we like it. Either if you add to your Patreon level, or if you just join us for the first time, it's absolutely wonderful to have you. Final ball of Broad's 18th over. Mitchell has now moved into double figures, and once he gets into double figures, you'll never get him out. He's 10 of 40. Blundell is 13, and we will be having a change around. Bear is just adding the name to the £10 glory roll. So your names will be going there. If you put £10 in, you get to your name on the Facebook and YouTube glory roll, and you'll see your name in lights probably about every 15 minutes, we reckon, on the speed that it goes round. So get your family round, get stuck in front of YouTube, all of you, round a little computer, and then wait for your name, and then you could go, "Way, it's me!" 182 for 5. Mitchell. Well, its sun has just come through a little bit more strongly at Headingley, as Broad runs in from the Kirkstall Lane end, bowls to Mitchell. Mitchell jabs down on this behind square. Diving effort by, I think it was Bairstow there, but it just escapes his clutches, so they're able to come through for the single. It's the end of the over. It's 183 for 5. And for those of you that haven't joined us on Patreon yet, here's a little reminder.
We need your
Alternative cricket commentary, bringing you laughs, bringing you jingles, bringing you joy. We are Gorillas. patreon.com/guerrilla cricket.
And welcome back to
the
our
baby
coverage.
bear.
Yes, the baby bear, it is I, Jacob Jaffa. Hello to Al, hello to Messers. Messers,
You're right, boo-boo.
I come bearing instructions, Messers, from Daddy Bear, which is that you need to turn your microphone up.
Up. Okay. Will do.
And
So,
up all the way to 11, man.
How's that? Is that any better?
I think so, but Bear, I'm sure, will report back. Hello as well, Al. How are you?
Bonjour.
Good to see you. And New Zealand, well, how will they do? It's this partnership. It's always this partnership. Mitchell and Blundell at the crease. Potts in to the right-handed Mitchell over the wicket, left alone outside the off stump. And it just goes through to the new man, Billings. Sam Billings in for Ben Foakes, who has come down with COVID. I thought that didn't exist anymore.
There's some dispute on YouTube. There is someone called the Bear on our YouTube feed.
And he says he's not in the studio, it's an imposter.
Yeah. Make of that what you will. Can the bear be in two places at once?
Quite
Schrodinger's
possibly.
bear.
Oh dear.
As in comes Potts, defended by Mitchell. No run. I was so confident of an England victory this morning that I almost wore my England cricket shirt. But then in classic England fan style, I immediately lost that confidence as soon as I put it on and went, oh no, I can't wear this in case we lose.
What is it? Well, first of all, how do you ascribe luck to the wearing of that shirt?
I don't know. I don't know, really.
We're not going to go into logic, are we? That's
no,
very
of course
boring.
not, as that's defended into the offside by Mitchell for no run. It's the ODI shirt from the early 2000s, the sort of Freddie Flintoff famous
Right.
ODI shirt, which more experienced listeners will be horrified to learn it's considered a bit of a retro item these days, a bit vintage.
Oh, God.
So, Jacob, do you consider that shirt to be a lucky shirt?
Not particularly. I was just showing.
There's no. If it is a lucky shirt, then you should be wearing it.
It was
because it's a lucky shirt, and if you're not wearing it,
my certainty of an England win, but I just don't have that certainty deep in my soul, Al.
I'm more worried about the fact that it's there's no reason for you to or not to wear it.
Yeah, well, these are the crises that go through my mind at 8:40 in the morning when I wake up to come here, as Mitchell is defending forward for no run.
How'd you get ready for work?
I know. I get in the
Or
shower,
uni.
then I dry myself off, and then I have an existential crisis, and then I get dressed.
So
Does anyone else?
same as everybody
Yeah,
else.
does anyone else do it differently? Tweet in. Tell us your morning routine, as long as it includes some sort of breakdown.
Jez, I'm gonna get Jacob to say most of that again. Jez, close your eyes and listen to him. He sounds like Simon Jones, who played Arthur Dent in the original Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So do the next ball and then say that again.
That's driven nicely by Mitchell. Oh, it's just fallen short of, I think it's Bairstow there at one of those short cover positions. It was aerial from Mitchell. That's exactly what that fielder is there for. And it just fell short of him as Sean Tracy on YouTube comes in and says, I'm Spartacus, which I think is in reference to the bear conversation.
So say it again. I wake up, I have a shower, then
I wake up, I have a shower, I dry myself off, I have an existential crisis, and then I get dressed. What else does anyone else do?
all I need now is for you to tell me
As that's defended by Mitchell, final ball of the over.
Is there a Vogon construction fleet anywhere near you?
What do you need me to say next, Al?
Oh, no,
I'm merely a
fine.
humble puppet here for your amusement on the Guerrilla Cricket commentary.
Indeed.
It's the end of the over. New Zealand 183 for 5.
Warren, I didn't realise the glory hole roll. I think it's just the glory roll. Was in an in memoriam roll of death, a la the Oscars. It's difficult to know who the hammer is at the end of that.
Josie Oak, I have a solution to all these ball changes. Remount one of the umpire's handcuffs so the ball does go through. And GC Naked Fun, Porn Bot, Gorilla Cricket, the more holes the better.
Oh dear.
Well, yeah, you asked for that.
Nestlers is about to join the Spannerati, it seems, on YouTube. It's growing every day. Their numbers grow by the day, and soon they shall return and wreak their vengeance.
Indeed.
I already deleted 5 messages this morning. I was.
As in comes Broad to Blundell over the wicket, left alone wide of the off stump. An exaggerated lunging leave from the bearded Blundell.
It's an extra Patreon bonus, basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just to come back to the cricket a bit, I tell you what really strikes me about this innings in general is how well New Zealand were batting until it rained yesterday, how dreadfully they batted for that period between the resumption and when it rained again, and how reasonably they're batting this morning. It was as if something possessed them after tea yesterday.
I think you can also add to that Conway being hit on the helmet. It's like it hit the whole team on the head.
Here comes Broad.
Yeah.
Defended late, down to third man, diving gully, will stop it, but they will get a single. I mean, they lost 3 wickets in half an hour after that tea break, the rain break rather, including Kane Williamson playing a pretty brainless shot, which he doesn't often do. Devon Conway went, after being hit on the head. It was an odd little passage for New Zealand, and then their granite solid lower middle order of Mitchell and Blundell, which has carried them through really this whole series, is trying to do so again and just build and build and build, try and get the lead over 300. That's reared up. That's reared up of a length from Broad and caught Mitchell by surprise, taken not quite the shoulder of his bat. I think it's actually hit him on the arm, but he wasn't expecting that. Broad was saying this morning they want to keep the lead under 300, so that would be 5 from the start of play this morning. 5 wickets for 180 runs. With this pair, they may get that, or they may get no wicket for 180 runs. You just don't know at this point.
That's fairly unambitious in my judgment. I mean, I would have thought you'd want to get them out for 250 at the most.
And that's defended again. I think that was the kind of, we will feel pretty happy chasing it as long as the lead's under 300.
Well, according to gambling websites, which you should all do responsibly, the fall of the next wicket is 211.5 runs. So there's an expectation for these guys to go on for a little bit.
I can also tell you that Ben Jones from CricViz has just tweeted that Mitchell and Blundell have been batting together for 23% of this entire Test series.
That's mad. Tremendous.
That's unbelievable from these two. A really fabulous effort, and especially considering, is that by time or by number of balls?
I presume it's by time,
because there could be England partnerships, or particularly Jonny Bairstow, who's been almost as productive, but just has done it in much quicker time.
Yeah, true.
Bairstow's up to number 2 in the world at the moment with runs scored this calendar year in Test cricket.
I thought you meant in the rankings. As ducked under by Mitchell, short from Broad. Billings collect.
No, he's so. The way he's got his runs and stuff he's second in the world at the moment. Calendar Test runs.
To Root, I assume.
Nope, Root's number 3.
Oh, calendar from the start of 2022 or calendar last 365 days.
I believe it's calendar 2022.
Oh, so who's at the top? Is it Mitchell?
Usman Khawaja.
Oh, funny how that. And he's playing again this week when Australia plays Sri Lanka in their first Test.
So make of that what you will.
Broad's at the top of his mark to Mitchell. In he comes, short, ducked under, no run. End of the over, 184 for 5. We're joined by Jeff Thomas on YouTube. He says after working for 30 years, it was only after retiring that he discovered the joys of the breakfast beer. I'm sure the bear will agree with you.
Leah on Twitter, fun Kubrick fact, he was married to the daughter of the director of one of the most famous notorious pieces of Nazi propaganda. GC Radio Naked Fun Pornbot, Captain's Salty Cap, click here. Roger Melly, speaking of Jacob's English shirt, is it possible to get a Union Jack waistcoat like Tim Brooke Taylor wore in the goodies? Mog, I put my existential crises on one leg at a time, just like everybody else. Cat Jones, more Arthur Dent on commentary, please.
We have a bowling change, gents. It will be this man.
Coming up, here's a face that I know. It's Jack Leach. Now coming up is Jack Leach. On Jack Leach.
So spin into the attack early in the day. It's a new spell. He's bowled 13 overs so far in the second innings and taken 1 wicket for 26. Pretty economical, going at 2 and over. And yeah, interesting move by Stokes.
It does seem to be does seem to be one of the areas of a wholesale change between this captain and previous captains about the use of the spinner.
A much better use of the spinner, basically. Also, even though he is apparently on YouTube, I'm sad to report that the bear has left the building. He's gone from Gorilla Towers. As that's played off the back foot by Blundell into the offside. Tight single. Oh, they'll get there. It's a decent effort and a good throw in from, I think it was Stokes, but he had to run round the ball to throw it in, and that gave him the time to complete the single.
Jez,
there was no danger there.
Jez, where do you stand on Billings being a replacement because England have gained the system so that Foakes doesn't have COVID?
Well, I mean, you can go up with all the conspiracies you like. I'm still really uncomfortable with someone coming in and replacing someone, no matter what the cause, other than concussion, because I think concussions is a really necessary thing.
That's defended by Mitchell off the back foot. I think I'm possibly on the other side. I don't mind the idea of substitutions in tests for genuine injuries, and you know, if you have an independent doctor to validate them, as that's defended by Mitchell. You know, you don't when you see someone like Kyle Jamieson going down and they can't replace him, it really hampers a side.
It does, but it's open to being gained.
Yeah, as Mitchell defends back in front of pad, like everything it is. But then that's when you have to, you know, get an independent doctor's assessment and stuff like that, where they verify that there's been a genuine injury.
Yeah, I'll go into this after this over because this is going to be quick.
As Leach is defended off the back foot, no run.
As long as that independent person isn't my mum determining whether I was fit enough to go to school or not, you'd have to have a leg hanging up.
Oh, that's the classic one. Did she tell you were swinging the lead as Mitchell defends the final ball of the over? Because that's what I always got. End of the over, 62 done, 185 for 5, leading by 154. Messers, you have opinions?
Yeah, I've a very strong view in relation to concussion substitutes being a very good thing, because it makes sure that the right protocol is followed, or can be. It's still not being done properly in my view, but it's much more likely that the protocol will be followed when the team's not going to suffer because someone actually goes off because of concussion. With injuries, it's a little different. I mean, it's always been part of the game, and I do think you leave it really of you know, what's a comparable person. You know, say Billings and Foakes is obviously fairly comparable, but I just think it's got too many loopholes in it. As I understand it, that doesn't apply anyhow. It's only in relation to COVID and concussion it applies.
Yeah. As we. Ball on the legs from Overton, lifted into the air by Blundell, clipped away, and it will go for one of these.
Older than Tracy's stamp collection, and manlier than
that was very much a gift.
Sex Panther cologne. It's the Guerrilla Cricket.
If there had been
you just can't afford to be that loose, can you?
If there had been a semi-deep mid-wicket, it would have been perfect. However,
just once in a decade,
as in he comes straighter, better ball, and driven but not timed to mid-on. 84 miles an hour from Overton. He is capable of quicker than that, and he usually is pretty on it from ball one, so we'll have to see how his pace deals. He did get quicker throughout the day in his first day in Test cricket.
It's all downhill from here. With me, it's Grubby here, by the way.
I should tell you that Madhya Pradesh has just won the Ranji Trophy.
Feeling good on my tropical island. It's the Wizard of Watford.
Nips back in a little to Blundell,
and that latest voice you heard,
that's good, I suppose.
4.5 hours away from here. We'll let you guess where. Is not Fred.
Can't say anyone.
Hello
to the
the bear on YouTube is saying that he just did a little boogie around his garden to the Leach jingle. And then good kick that fake imposter bear out.
It is a good jingle. It's very smooth.
The life of a suburban Daily
As we see a replay here of Jamie Overton running straight down the middle of the pitch and his follow through. That's a Yorker length wide ball and deflected towards third man and fielded.
I hear you, man.
You're still waiting
to see if it will, though. Let's be honest.
Yeah, annoyingly,
I really don't know whether I should put Kevin Peterson in timeout.
So I filled up my brown bin. And I've got this little routine.
What say you, Jacob?
I mean, I don't know, but it does give me an excuse at the end of this over to play a derogatory jingle about KP, which I could well do.
Which is very good.
I think I will play it at the end of the over. As in, come Overton.
It stayed wedged.
And that's Blundell played an odd shot there. He kind of jumped.
I've overwedged.
Ball on the legs from Overton, lifted into the air by. He sort of jumped sideways and put his bat in the other direction and defended.
It was a strange shot, wasn't it?
Yeah, very weird one. It's the final ball of this over. We're just seeing Jonny Bairstow here in front of the crowd. In comes Overton, defended by Blundell nicely. End of the over, and before we go to the tweets, here's the jingle I only need any excuse to play.
There's a fat wind broadcasting on Sky. Nobody wants him there. Everybody just asks why. Oh, give us some more Annie. Give us some more Annie. And less of that KP guy.
I have YouTube developments.
Just won the Ranji Trophy by 6 wickets, beating Mumbai.
As that nips back in a little.
And Kevin Peterson.
He's wielded the hammer and brought it down upon the humble walnut.
I was pointed at for having an iron fist this morning.
Suter, who has used a sledgehammer to crack a peanut there. He's really gone in on it, but we love him very dearly, and he has, as a high-ranking member of the Spannerati, he has the absolute right to completely destroy YouTube commenters. As Mitchell defends one a little inside edgily into the leg side. I still don't understand this. Leach is bowling to the right-handed Mitchell near the beginning of his innings. There is no short leg, and there's been a couple which have come off Mitchell's inside edge, while not gone to short leg, as that's swept nicely and firmly, and there's no man out there, and it will go away for one of these.
The number of the day. Who could ask for more? The number of the day is 4.
So why, with the right-hander, who's caused so many problems for England, why are they not putting a short leg in there and saying you can't just prop forward in defence, you've got to be careful with your inside edge.
I think he's bowling this early.
Yeah, I am. But
I think they're in a defensive mindset whenever this pair are together. That's part of the problem.
As Mitchell just puts bat in front of pad and defends. But yeah, I mean, Jack Leach is not a huge turner of the ball. One will slide through. It will start, a bit of inconsistent turn, and he might just catch one on the inside edge. That's swept again. Diving Jamie Overton, that is, big man going at the floor, down in instalments. It was a hard dive. He didn't look...
Richter Scale would have measured that.
He didn't look happy about
throw
it.
Him to the floor.
He certainly didn't look happy about it, but he stopped the potential boundary, which is what was good. As in comes Leach, and that's defended into the leg side by Mitchell. No run. Yeah, I was always a big fan of Shane Warne's view on things like short legs, in that it just makes the batsman think. It means they can't just come forward. It puts doubt in their mind and actually makes it more likely that the edge will go there. As Mitchell defends a full floaty ball from Leach to end the over, 193 for fives, and lead by 162.
Some tweets. Martin White, if Foakes has COVID, reasonable to assume others may develop it too. How many COVID replacements can a side have in one test? I'm assuming 11. Leah, please call glorious boundaries and sixes money shots. Naked Pornbot and I would really appreciate the reference. I feel a bit uneasy. Hawkster, curious about your thoughts on the COVID replacement situation. How many players in the team would need to be replaced due to COVID before the game is abandoned? Difficult to say. I think it's kind of a suck it and see territory. GC Radio Naked Form Pumbot. You mean you can't have a replacement for contorted testicle? No. The light roller, Jonny Bairstow is working the crowd on the Western Terraces.
Oh, that savagely pulled a short ball from Overton and just absolutely dispatched by Tom Blundell. There's only one jingle I can play for that.
That went like a tracer bullet.
Because it did. It was hammered off the middle of the bat by Tom Blundell all the way along the floor, gone for four.
Quick theory for you. In all of these test matches, no ball replacement has gone well for the fielding side.
I don't think that's true. Because I think one that England got, yesterday, in fact, they changed the ball and it started swinging.
Yeah, that's true.
And certainly that's...
Got wickets, got Conway, didn't
they?
For
New Zealand in one of the earlier tests.
As Blundell defends to Gully, no run. Yeah, I think that when they got Latham, it was like a ball, it was one ball after they changed the ball, I think.
I thought it was one ball after they came back for the rain break. Sorry.
No, that was Conway and Williamson and Nicholls all went after the rain break.
My bad.
It would help if they bowled a little better with the ball they've got, irrespective of whether it's strange.
There is a bit of a theme, though. A lot of the balls have been, especially New Zealand, they've changed slightly swinging balls for gun barrel straight ones. As Overton's in, defended off the back foot, they're going to go for a quick single. The fielder isn't there, so they will get the single. It didn't have to be that quick in the end.
I noticed that the light roller said Bairstow's working the crowd on the Western Terrace. Is that where you are, light roller? Actually on the Western Terrace? You decided to chance your lot with the drunks and the madmen?
We did have a first time, a commenter who was a first time attender of cricket today, I think. And
indeed we did.
I wonder if they could tweet in from the cricket if they're listening.
They already have.
And
Matthew Cullen, he sent in a photo early on.
Well, tell us how you're getting on, Matthew. As that's defended by Mitchell. They think about a run. Stokes is too quick and has too good an arm. They won't go for it. Yeah, tweet us in, Matthew Cullen, and tell us how you're enjoying it. Tell us if you managed to get that watermelon full of gin in after all.
I think he was going to take basically a plastic bottle, water bottle.
And then an aubergine was debated, wasn't it? Or a courgette.
Oh, God. Yes, this could go anywhere.
It really could. And that's, again, short from Overton. Pulled hard, but only as far as Stokes. He's really missed out there, I think. He didn't quite time it. Yeah, it was tied. The courgette and the aubergine stuff was tied into the great banana shortage, which is apparently yet to come as well. So, a real bonanza for slightly phallic vegetable and fruit produce yesterday.
We're one step away from the great darkness, aren't we?
Oh, the things you get on Gorilla. You wouldn't get this anywhere else.
Oh, no, and that's why we love it, as that's Fuller from Overton, defended into the offside by leg side by Mitchell. 1 run. And that ends the over, 65 done. 199 for 5 New Zealand, leading by 168. Messers.
It's me.
No.
Moggs.
Ow.
Moggs says, can a member of the Spannerati ban another member? Let's find out. So that's a challenge being laid down. Let me see. YouTube. Andrew Miller, Bear has been deleted. Lol. Also says I love the KP jingle. Stuart Smith. I'm pretty sure that wasn't the real KP. Didn't mention franchise cricket.
Oh, who's this on the screen? Because they're focusing on him like he's a celebrity. And I don't recognise him.
He's a prat. I don't know who he is, but he's a prat.
I think I sort of recognise him, but I don't know him. As Leach Leach is defended by Mitchell. Yeah, I kind of.
That's just about the definition of celebrity.
Yeah, I sort of know the face, but I don't really have a monkey's arse who he is. As that's off the back foot by Mitchell, and we'll run out to. I think we've got a substitute fielder on, a young oik at Gully, who gathers it. For
How old are you, Jacob?
I'm 22.
Yeah.
That's beaten everything. There's turn, there's bounce. I think it's beaten the outside edge of Mitchell. We'll see for the signal here. Yes, buys, and this many of them.
My name is Lakan.
It actually beat the outside edge by a good distance, but it turned from middle to well outside off, beat Billings, and went down to the backward boundary for 4. Here he comes again.
It's a stumps by that much.
Yeah, it didn't actually. Defended. Hendo has wandered in to the Gorilla Cricket studio because we will change at the end of this over. It will be Al on ball by ball, Messers on the socials, as that's defended off the back foot by Mitchell, and Hendo will be doing the summarising. And I'll be buggering off for half an hour. As final ball of the over, in comes Leach, and looked like it could challenge the inside edge, but defended well off the front foot. And that's the end of the over. New Zealand 203 for 5. I'll play a little jingle while Hendo comes in about the GPL, I think.
The tension builds. Who will it be? The tension builds. Which name will it be?
Guess what? Time to draw the winner. What's that? We're drawing the winner. Holy cow! We have a winner. Sweet Tommy Jesus! Who is the winner?
Welcome back, Hendo.
Thank you very much. The GPL is open till lunchtime. Guess how many runs will be scored in the day. Pay us £1 each time you do. And if you get it on the nose, you get what's in the pot. And we started the pot this morning on £165. So that's getting up.
That's your Millions GPL money, isn't it?
It basically is. I mean, it's not that far away from our record. I think our record got us just over 200 quid. But 165 quid. So the more you get involved, the more money will arrive in that pot, and it'll be very exciting come the latter parts of the day.
It's up to 166 now.
166. What more could you want? Well, a lot more. £34. Let's get up to 200. Let's get it up to 200. Come on, GPL, GorillaCricket.com/competitions. There we go.
So we're on a drinks break, so I'll just do a couple of tweets. Mog wonders whether a member of the Spannerati can ban another member. Let's find out. The Fun Porn box sent us a link which I daren't click on. It says the Guerrilla Puritan Vigilante buckles down. Click here. Pirate Bradshaw's with us. He says, afternoon, old salts and sea dogs. And Mog says he's a Pratt, so Gary Pratt. Well, I don't know, could well be. Dueling Spinners, Mog, says Warren. And he says, what the fuck was that jingle? It was a GPL jingle, apparently.
Yeah, I've not heard that.
One of yours.
It is Mog's. It's definitely one of Mog's. It has Mog written underneath it. GPL prize draw. In fact, he's done 2 of them. Last chance for the GPL and the GPL prize draw. So maybe we'll give the other one an airing a little bit later, just to remind you people to take part, which is always good. Of course, remember that the women's test starts tomorrow, doesn't it? England, South Africa.
Yeah, it should be good series, that, shouldn't it?
Well, I'd kind of like them to leave it until Tuesday or Wednesday, really. Get this one. Well, I suppose they want. Do they want it finished before the England test against India? That's maybe what it is, isn't it? There's no time between the two to sort of fit it in, so it has to sort of cross at least one day. And I suppose, generally speaking, the final day of test can be quite short or dull.
It's just nice that it's a test, you know.
Absolutely. Yes, I enjoyed the Women's World Cup, and hope to watch a bit of that when it gets going.
Yeah, no, it should be good.
Indeed. Josie Oak says it's the Mitchell Blundell show again. Sounds like an Australian racing driver. It does, actually. Very much.
Mitchell Blundell coming. Oh, I can't do my Murray Walker anymore. I never could, in fact.
There goes Mitchell Blundell.
Absolutely. There was a Blundell, wasn't there? Was there a Blundell? I think
there was a Martin Brundle.
That's
there was
yes.
a Mark Blundell.
Oh, right. So pretty close.
Yeah.
Not so far away.
So it's going to be J. Overton. Man, half unit.
Half man, complete wardrobe. Things like that.
Yeah. He looks like he's got the turning circle of the Kiwi too. He really does. He's
yes.
A big man.
Yeah. He's not quite as ripped as his brother, is he? But effective.
He is coming in, and that is short, and an attempted pull from outside off stop by Blundell. He swings and misses.
So what have we had? 35 runs added this morning for no wicket. So New Zealand will be very happy about that. They're just trying to eke out these runs, aren't they? They're not over attacking at all.
True.
And it's it's the 2 form guys that are doing it again.
Yeah.
And England have got to break this partnership.
To a certain extent, I feel like England are almost letting them do it. It's as if they go into a mindset, these two, let's go on the defensive.
I see.
The attack's not there.
Short again and pulled again, and this time full contact made by Blundell. A good stop, actually, even though the ball really goes straight to Bairstow at deep square leg.
Yeah, it's not easy, is it, down there? Because you've got all those practice pitches, and it runs even faster over there. So you have to be right behind it. It might just suddenly speed up and defeat your fielding abilities.
A remarkably well-timed single. Blundell's on 25. He's been the senior partner this morning. Mitchell is 16, and it's taken him 71 balls to get there as Overton comes in again, and this is tucked all the way off the hip of Mitchell down to fine leg. And that will be a second single.
Yeah, 205 for 5. The lead's 174. I think New Zealand are... Well, I mean, I heard Stuart Broad saying that, we need to get them down to under 300 or around about 300, and I thought that sounds very unambitious. I would have thought with 5 wickets down and the possibility of getting through one of these, you might be hoping to get them out for 220, 230. Probably won't do that now.
It's a delicate balancing act. Aggressive, but not too much. But if you're not careful, passivity will lead to New Zealand being 250, 260 for 5, and the complexion of the game changes again. As Overton is in, another short pitch delivery, this time I think steeper and higher than the previous ones that Blundell had to face. He shapes to play a shot, but backs away from it, and there'll be no run.
Yeah, I think it's the right decision by Blundell. It just got a bit big on him, and he wouldn't have been in full control of that. They've got the man at Well, they've got a man at square leg, a man at short mid wicket, and a man at backward square leg, probably on an angle of about 35 degrees, something like that, as well as the man out for the top edge.
Overton in, wide outside the off stump. It does nip back off the seam. Seems to be that's where the movement's been. No shot by Blundell, but all the movement seems to be off the pitch rather than through the air, Hendo.
Well, this is what we were talking about, wasn't it? The fact that Trent Boult is the man who seems to be able to get swing out of anything, of any of those balls, whether they're new ones, replacement ones. He's really stood out as a bowler in these last two tests, I would say.
Last ball of the 67th over, and short again, and Blundell, this was too far down the arse, down leg side, and Blundell again checks out of the shot wisely, and that's it's going to be, I think that's classed as a no ball.
Yep, second one.
Second one over the shoulder.
Yep. I'm afraid
I was about to nearly say free hit, but that's a different type of cricket.
I would lay your odds it'll be in Test cricket within 4 years.
Really?
Bet you anything.
Oh, I hope not. I don't see the point of it. I mean, you get a run. You get an extra run for the no ball. I don't think you need to punish the bowler to that extent, do you? Seems to me a little bit of an overreaction.
So we watch a dedicated Yorkshireman making all the right comments in his scoring book as Overton goes around the wicket this time. Kind of cramps Blundell up for room, even though the ball goes across him, but it's defended well, and that will be the end of the over. New Zealand are 206 for 5, leading by 175 runs. Cheers.
Warren says in response to Mog about the Spannerati banning one another, it's just dueling spanners. Messages, put Hendo's glasses on. Mog says, remind me, are you doing the Commonwealth Games? Well, unfortunately, although there is a women's cricket T20 tournament in the Commonwealth Games, it coincides with the white ball matches between England and South Africa. So I think they will almost certainly be getting priority.
What's the dates? Remind me of the dates of the Commonwealth Games, anyone?
I'll look them up in just a second. It's going to be Jack Leach who's going to bowl, maybe in an attempt to get through some overs before we get to the next new ball, which is 13 overs away.
28th of July to the 8th of August, Hendo.
Okay.
Slightly back of a length outside the off stump. And that's just pushed out into the offside field by Mitchell, and there'll be no run.
I have to note down, there's a series of T20s and ODIs against India after the Test match. Then there's some ODIs against South Africa, and then eventually we get into the South African Test matches, but not until about 17th of August, I think, is the first.
That's correct.
I've got a conspiracy theory about that if you're interested.
Oh, well, yes, absolutely.
Leach, a bit more loop and drift, and it turns and spins away from Mitchell's outside edge, beaten all ends up. What a glorious ball that was.
Yeah, he's bought a couple of those now, hasn't he, in the last 2 overs?
Oh, that's a beauty.
Is there no slip in there?
I think it's quite a wide slip.
Okay.
Yes, I think there is.
Oh, yeah.
Tries to repeat the dose. Slightly more pitched up, defended back to the bowler, and there's no run. The timing of the ODIs against India completely coincides with finals day for the Blast.
Oh.
And that's swept by Mitchell, mistimed down to Overton on the 45. There'll be no run. So if you're a Blast team that could call upon an England international, of course you can't. Something that I'm sure will not encumber franchises for the 100.
That's outrageous, isn't it? That's outrageous.
Mitchell, half step forward, defends to mid-wicket for this 5th ball of the over. And Leach is causing some problems, certainly earning his captain's trust in throwing in the ball quite so early in the day. Last ball of the over. And again, I just hit him on the pad, he's out.
Yeah.
Mitchell pushing forward. It'll be interesting about how much turn there was off the pitch. Mitchell may want to review this.
Well, I thought it was out as soon as it happened.
The decision has been reviewed, but Erasmus doesn't get many of these wrong.
Better out than in, better in than out. Better out better in than out. In, out, shake it all about.
Height might be a problem, actually.
Height might be a problem.
It has bounced, hasn't it?
He's taken a decent stride forward. It's hit him. Well, you can't see any of the 3 stumps. It's definitely not hit the bat.
Knee roll, just the top of the knee roll.
I think this might be umpire's call on height, and I think Mitchell might have to go.
Well,
because I think there's space there in order for the ball to start coming down.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It'd be great for Jack Leach if he's found his way through and finally got rid of Daryl
pitching
Mitchell.
in line, hitting in line, and the ball is missing.
Oh my word!
By some considerable distance.
Yeah, it's the height, isn't it? The height.
Yeah.
It just looked. Yeah, I mean that's not a bad decision. I don't think. I think just didn't quite read the bounce there, Erasmus. Well, so it's not out.
That is entirely what Test cricket, what DRS is there for, though, isn't it? Because in a world before DRS, that would never have been given out by the umpire because he's taken a big stride forward. But it's down.
Well, I think the extra bounce that Leach is getting, because I think he's looping the ball up there much more consistently. Actually, getting that bounce has worked against him there.
Yeah,
and it's very unfortunate because it is. I mean, it's perfect in terms of direction, but it is purely the height.
If ever there was a face of disappointment, it's the face of, I think, is that Ollie Pope behind Jack Leach, registering disappointment. Jez, do you want to get a couple of quick tweets in?
Yeah, Roger Melly says there is also a Graham Blundell who starred in the Australian softball classic Alvin Purple, which was very funny at the time. It's dreadful now. I happened to notice a bit of it the other day. It's awful. Embarrassingly so.
Well, there's no way to segue back to Overton. Bowling short and pulled away by Blundell. It has gone past the fielder on the 45, but there is a long leg in place. That will be Leach doing the fielding, and just a single again.
Sorry, so remind me what that was again, Messi? I don't think I've heard of it.
It was an Australian movie called Alvin Purple.